weekly lower trade in the grain markets here early on Tuesday morning. It is 6:30 a.m. Central Time. December corn futures down 0.75 cents at 5.75 3/4. January soybeans down 2.5 at 12.54 3/4. December Chicago wheat down 2 3/4 at 8.23 December Kansas City wheat down 2.5 at 8.33 1/4. December spring wheat is down 8 1/4 at 10.18 1/4. If you guys are listening on the podcast, appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, help me to grow this channel. If you need some additional assistance from me, go to my website, click on Grain Marketing Plan, check out this subscription service, guys. A ton of information direct from me. $49.99 a month. Cancel at any time. No other fee, no other obligation. If you would like to know what I'm doing, what I'm thinking every single day of the week, check this out. I won't try to sell you anything else. It's a great deal, guys. Check it out for a month. See if you like it. The National Oilseed Processors Association, that's NOPA, released its October crush report yesterday, and we had the third best soybean crush on record according to NOPA. 183.99 million bushels of soybeans were crushed by NOPA members. NOPA members represent about 95% of U.S. processors, so this is a very good gauge of what was crushed. The prior record was above 185, I believe, from October 2020. There was also a print just above this month's print in January of 21, but this is a really solid number, and I believe we'll see more of this because crush margins in this country are very, very strong. The domestic processor has a lot of incentive to crush beans, and ideally, the domestic processor here in the United States will offset some of the demand that is being lost to or as a result of a poor export program. So, demand for soybeans out of the U.S. is essentially twofold. It's about half exports, it's about half domestic crush. And I've discussed at length the woes of the export program, and now I've got some good news for you in regard to this NOPA crush. So we need to see the processor here in the U.S. crush at near full capacity, essentially, for the next several months in order to at least partially offset what we're going to lose via exports. Now, export inspections or shipments, we had a report yesterday, and they were soft, just over 2 million metric tons. That was down 29% on the week. Those shipments were down 18% versus the same week last year. Cumulated soybean shipments for the marketing year are down 28% versus the same period last year. So I just don't believe that this export program is ever going to fully catch up after those hurricane-related delays that we saw in September and October. USDA is going to have to make further downward revisions to its export forecast. Now, on the other side, they may need to make some sort of upward revision to the crush number if this sort of pace continues. So you've got a lot of moving parts here. I don't believe ultimately that the stronger crush is going to offset all of what we lose in exports. So you're probably going to see overall demand in terms of USDA projections be reduced in the coming months. That would be my guess. We'll see what happens. Corn inspections and wheat inspections were actually okay last week. USDA reported 866,000 metric tons of corn inspected for export. That was up 32% on the week. It was about flat versus the same week last year. Still, accumulated corn shipments for the marketing year are down 18% versus the same period last year. Accumulated wheat shipments down 14%. So same deal here with corn and with wheat. These issues at the Gulf are of significant concern, and I just don't know that you ever fully recover. USDA did report a flash sale of U.S. soybeans to an unknown destination yesterday, 264,000 metric tons. That's about 10 million bushels that was reported, and this could have been part of the rumors that I talked about yesterday. There were rumors on Friday indicating that China may have bought 10 to 15 cargoes of U.S. beans. This could have been part of that. We also saw a sale of corn to Mexico, 198,000. China made some substantial purchases of Ukrainian corn last week, and this is according to some newswire sources. The amounts have not been confirmed. Trade chatter suggests 300 to 700,000 metric tons. That could be anywhere from 12 up to maybe 27, 28 million bushels. This was a quote from a trader, and this is interesting. China still has a corn requirement. It is strange that China is buying from Ukraine instead of the U.S., where corn prices in cost and freight terms, including ocean shipping, are lower. There is talk China does not like the U.S. system of announcing overseas sales to the market, which can immediately push prices up. That is all very interesting in itself. In my experience, the flash sales and the weekly sales reports in themselves are not market movers, because the big commercials who did this business, they know what happened before the stuff is actually reported by USDA. So this is all kind of strange to me. But in any case, the big take home from this, for me, is that China's not buying corn from the U.S., and they haven't made a significant corn purchase from the U.S. in 5 or 6 months. That's the big take home. They've been largely absent. We still got a good look at export book, but we could certainly use some more Chinese buying. Brazil soybean crop 78% planted through last Thursday. This was a quote from private group Ag Rural, who is very well followed. Works are virtually concluded in regions with an earlier planting schedule. Summer corn planting in the country's center-south region, 85% complete through last Thursday. Weather in Brazil has been generally favorable. Moisture deficits have vanished in many areas. There is some concern still regarding dryness in some southern areas. However, I think at this point in time, the potential for record corn and soybean crops remains very much intact. U.S. crop progress report out yesterday. The U.S. corn crop is 91% harvested, up from 84 last week, ahead of the 86% average. We've got a handful of states that are not quite 90% complete. Those states include South Dakota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. U.S. soybean crop is 92% harvested versus 87 last week, just behind the 93% average. States below 90% complete in soybeans include Kansas, Missouri, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, and North Carolina. We should have row crop harvest wrapped up here in the next couple of weeks. The U.S. winter wheat crop, 94% planted versus 91 last week, right on par with the 94% average. Just about everywhere is complete or nearing completion. There have been some delays, certainly in the Midwest, in regard to the SRW crop. The crop is 81% emerged, U.S. winter wheat versus 74 last week, below the 83% average. Crop ratings improved, and that was not expected. 46% good to excellent, up from 45 last week, below the 53% average for this date. The trade going into this had expected a rating that was perhaps unchanged or even lower, so I think that this stronger crop rating for winter wheat is part of the reason why the market backed off overnight, although we have recovered a little bit. The cattle market was kind of a mixed bag yesterday. Traded both sides of unchanged. Cash trade was better last week, 131 to 132. The box beef market was mixed yesterday. In the outside markets, the U.S. dollar is very strong, into some fresh highs this morning. Stock market's about flat. The bonds are up just a few ticks. The gold and silver up a little bit, and crude oil is up 62 cents in the January WTI at 80.40 last trade. Everybody have a great day today. I'll talk to you guys same time tomorrow morning.